All right. No, it wasn't the mute button. Uh, I believe me, this has been an issue. Thanks. Well, let's start over again. Welcome to the Mission Ready Men briefing right here on the SHR Media Network, where masculinity has not been recalled and faith has not been neutered. Today is Tuesday, January 6th, in the year of our Lord 2026. And this is not just politics. It is spiritual warfare dressed up as progress. So we're done pretending, we're done pulling punches, and we are never going to apologize. You are not going to get soy lattes and group hugs right on through here. But stick around, and you might just find what you're looking for. Now let's get after it. There has been a lot. I could probably do 3 shows with all the stuff that's happened since the last time we were together. But obviously, the big thing we got to talk about is Maduro's capture. And there is a huge contrast, if not complete disconnect, and probably a complete disconnect between the American left and the Venezuelans who are celebrating in the streets. But meanwhile, you have he's got jokes. Really? Yeah, he's been in the news a little bit lately. But the American left is actually counter-protesting against the Venezuelans who fled Venezuela to this country and others around the world. And the left is actually, this is the same left, by the way, that not too long ago was talking about no kings and calling President Trump a dictator. And well, they do that regardless. But now they are actually in the streets protesting and demanding that we free an actual dictator. The people who fled tyranny and are now free from it, or at least on the verge of being free from it, are saying thank you. And the leftists who have never, despite what they might say, who has never actually experienced true tyranny, are saying, how dare you? How dare you celebrate the capture of this great leader, which is essentially what they're saying. And some of them will pay lip service and say, yeah, he is a bad guy. But come on. It's these people are utterly ridiculous. When the people who actually lived under a dictator are cheering and lost family members and businesses at the hands of a dictator, when those people are cheering and the people who have no such experience are screaming, I think we all know who is actually lying. And for those of you who, I doubt anyone is unaware at this point, but Nicolas Maduro, he was removed from power in a spectacular operation conducted by the US military, Delta Force. I mean, those guys are just exceptional, unbelievable operators. And they got this done. They were actually, from reports I've seen, they were actually, from the time they actually got out of the helicopters And the time they had him in custody and back on the helicopters was about 6 or 7 minutes. The whole operation took about 3 hours. Minimal injuries, no loss of life, and he is now on American soil about to stand trial. I mean, just quiet, precise, unbelievably disciplined operation. And the professionals who were trained by this United States military got it done. And so bravo to them. That was outstanding. But this matters not just because yeah, that would have been an amazing name. Amazing. The Venezuelans. Now, I know people have shown videos of them claiming to be in Caracas, in places in Venezuela celebrating. I'm not sure that's true because the members of the regime are still in place, and there have been reports of texts going out to citizens saying, if you celebrate, if you express any joy in this, we will lock you up. And so I'm not sure that that's true. But regardless, the Venezuelans who have left, who are in the United States, in Florida, and in other countries where they escaped, they are celebrating hard. And I have, let's see if I have this one. Yeah, we're going to get into this because the contrast is ridiculous. This is this is one, and this video I'm about to show you was one where somebody initially said it was in Venezuela, but obviously, I mean, if you look at it, it says Doral right there, so we know that it was actually in Florida. But check this out.
I mean, before I was even born, there have been struggles. My family has been fighting for so many years. Before I was even here, they have told me about it. They told me about a time where democracy existed, and now I can finally look forward to that. And that's just everything that I can ask for. And you know, I just want to tell you people, America, Venezuelans are good people. The greatest people that I know, I can vouch for them. We are good. We are working hard, and this is like President Donald Trump and Maria Corina Machado just created an opportunity for us to begin working harder than ever, because that's what we have always been doing, but now we will be working in our country. But you know, we also have worked so hard here in the United States to build so much things, and I just want to thank you, America. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to work.
That's awesome. It looks like we got Marco Rubio in chat. Marco Rubio's jobs. I mean, if you haven't, on X at Marco Rubio jobs, that account is absolutely hilarious. I mean, Marco Rubio is getting it done. And there are a lot of people out there, just as a side note, there are a lot of people out there who are actually moving into the camp of having Marco Rubio run in 2028 ahead of J.D. Vance. I don't see that happening, but I absolutely get it, because Marco Rubio has an unbelievable track record already in terms of accomplishments. So just putting that out there. But yeah, please, if you do yourself a favor and go to X and check out Marco Rubio jobs, you will not be disappointed. Oh man. But so yeah, we have Venezuelans actually thanking President Trump personally by name for what he did with getting Maduro out of power. And then, in case you the left is just, oh my goodness, these people. In New York and all over the country. There's another one in Portland I'm going to show you too, but in New York, these people are, well, you know what? Just take a look at it. I'm not going to play the whole thing. This clip is about 3 minutes long, but oh, maybe if I can find it again. All right. This is outstanding. Yeah, here we go. This is it. So in New York, they are actually demanding the release of Maduro.
Stop bombing Venezuela!
The U.S. launched a massive criminal bombing campaign on Venezuela. This war has nothing to do with drug trafficking.
Stand with the Bolivarian Revolution. Are you kidding me? Again, these are people who have never actually lived under a regime like this. But because he is ideologically left, obviously, according as far as they're concerned, he must be right. And anything that goes against that must be wrong. I mean, these people are absolute lunatics.
If the U.S. were interested in ending drug trafficking, they would talk to their allies in Peru.
No more wars for empire!
No more!
Stop bombing Venezuela! Stop bombing Venezuela!
And the thing is, by the time this protest was organized, and it was organized very quickly, but by the time it was organized and underway, we had already left. He was already on his way here. These people are ridiculous. So we have these Venezuelans who are ecstatic that this has happened. White leftists who are actually supporting a dictator. I mean, and that's the other thing. Like I mentioned earlier, they talk about how President Trump is a dictator. They had these No Kings protests not that long ago. And yet, here they are supporting a brutal dictator who killed and tortured and kidnapped his own people. And that's the guy they want to release and send back to run that country. A country where it wasn't that long ago where they were breaking into zoos and eating zoo animals because they had no food. Their money was worthless. They couldn't buy anything. Grocery stores were empty. People lost family. The nation of Venezuela was completely hollowed out. Completely. The oppression suffered by the Venezuelan people was real, and it was happening on a daily basis. And now as long as they can, the administration can get the remaining people to play ball, there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's not over yet. There's work to do still, but the Venezuelans are celebrating because there is light at the end of the tunnel. But of course, the American left, only the American left, only guilty, overeducated white people could look at people celebrating freedom and decide that the real problem is the celebration. Decide that the real problem is the fact that there's anything to celebrate in the first place. These people are lunatics. And I know a lot of people are saying that it was an illegal operation. It goes against international law. International law is not a real thing. Let's just get that out there. That it's not real, because who is going to enforce international law against us if it even existed? Who? Venezuela obviously couldn't do it. Who's going to do it? Sunny Hostin, she made some noises like that on The View, and I think we're gonna get into some of that. I mean, there's so much to get into, so much. I know I'm not going to get to it, but you know what? Actually, yeah, let's do this, because this was Sunny Hostin talking about the U.S. engaging in piracy by taking over Venezuela's oil industry.
And so isn't anyone concerned about the fact that what we're doing is almost piracy? It's like imperialism. We're going to another country and we're taking their natural resources.
Okay. Don't forget, and I guarantee you she is either didn't know or is completely forgetting the fact that Hugo Chavez nationalized the oil industry in Venezuela. And we had oil companies, ConocoPhillips, and I think another one operating in Venezuela. And he took it. He nationalized the industry and seized our assets. He nationalized all the industries in Venezuela, actually. We were operating our oil companies in Venezuela, and he stole our stuff. And she's going to say it's piracy because we're finally taking it back? Get out of here with that. So everyone who's saying it's about oil, yeah, it's about oil. It's about oil that we should have been drilling in the first place. It was not an illegal operation. Maduro was under federal indictment. And this was us going after a criminal to bring him to justice. And the result happens to be that we get back what was ours in the first place. And it also has the added benefit of wiping out China's foothold in the region. China has, I've seen I've seen reports that China has upwards of somewhere around 25%. I haven't been able to verify that. I know that China was getting 4 to 8% of their oil from Venezuela. And like I said, I've seen reports that it was as high as 25%. Russia had a foothold, and Iran had a foothold in Venezuela. And the result of that is those relationships are severely damaged. China was trying to get a port in Venezuela. And if China and Russia and Iran had solidified their foothold in Venezuela and were able to put nukes in the Western Hemisphere that could reach the United States in 30 to 40 minutes. That's what makes this America first. The Don Road Doctrine. The Don Road Doctrine. I love it. Exert our dominance in the hemisphere and let it be known that we are the big dogs. And this is our yard. And you can come here if you want to, but you will play by our rules. And of course, we don't want China or Russia or Iran anywhere near this hemisphere. And we got it done. This is one of the things that you will never. Well, the left doesn't think that there's a problem with any of that anyway, because they love China, they love Iran, they love Russia. Well, actually, no, they don't really love Russia, but they hate America, so the effect is the same. Venezuela's oil was definitely helping out, if not propping up, China's leverage and helping Iran evade sanctions. And now that leverage is completely collapsed. And America's strategic position, not just in the hemisphere, but in the world, is vastly improved. People like that, those protesters talking about imperialism, never seemed to care. Couldn't care less when it was China or Iran. When they were doing the colonizing, couldn't care less. If there's a choice. There's a choice. Either you are for Venezuelans celebrating their chance at freedom, celebrating in the streets, or you believe American activists, American leftists, screaming about imperialism and oppression and no kings and all the rest of that nonsense. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the people who actually lived under that regime, they have all the credibility, and they're celebrating. They are ecstatic. They are calling out Trump by name, thanking him for this. And let's not forget, it wasn't that long ago when people like Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer and Kamala Harris were talking about how Maduro had to go. and how President Trump wasn't doing enough in his first term to get rid of him. And now that he's actually done it, now there's a problem. These people are ridiculous. Wow, I'm way behind on the chats here. Wow. Okay. Yeah, let's see if we can get some of these in. Sackhead Sean says they would rather let the girls in Venezuela be child trafficked instead of saying this wasn't a bad thing because Trump did it. Well, yeah, they reflexively go against anything Trump does because Trump did it. That's it. Like I heard people say Trump could cure cancer, and they would say it was a bad thing. These people are insane. It's about, yeah, BZ, it's about the theft of multiple billions of dollars from U.S. interests. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, the Don Rowe doctrine is hysterical. I saw somebody say that before I actually heard him say it in the press conference. And I was like, what, did he misspeak or something? But then I saw, okay. Yeah, the Don Rowe doctrine is amazing. And I hope it catches on. I really do. Yes, watching the media and leftists react to everything he says is just the chef's kiss. Absolutely. It is glorious to watch. It is glorious to watch. Because they don't realize how ridiculous they look. They just don't realize that they are making absolute fools of themselves. And I'm not even sure if they can come back from it. I think they are so far gone that I think this is just the reality for the foreseeable future. Marco Rubio Jobs is in astronaut training. Wow. But he should be back. I mean, please check out Marco Rubio Jobs. Absolutely hysterical. All right, I want to move on because I could spend the entire show and then some talking about all the different aspects of this. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, I do need to get this in because I came across this in my final preparations for the show. And I remember hearing about it late last year, and then the holidays and everything else, it just got away from me. But there is, where did I put it? Something that came up with regard to Maduro, and one of his former intelligence operatives wrote an open letter to President Trump in the United States not too long ago. It was reported early in December, and obviously it kind of got buried a little bit. But I wanted to let you know about this because this is something that you're never going to hear from the BS Nows of the world, the CNNs of the world. You're never going to hear it on any of those outlets. But this is something, and I'm actually surprised the Dallas Express, well, actually, no, the Dallas Express, I think, is okay. Thinking of the Dallas Morning News. But anyway, they published a letter written by one of Maduro's former intelligence operatives. And he is in jail. He's in prison in the United States. He has no reason to lie. It's not going to give him any advantage, any leverage to lie at this point. And he wrote a letter saying that he wanted to atone for his sins by telling the whole truth. And so that the United States can protect itself from the dangers I witnessed for so many years. This is Hugo Armando El Pollo Carvajal, former military intelligence in Venezuela. And he says that Cuba is the brains behind the Suns cartel. The plan was suggested by the Cuban regime to Chavez in the mid-2000s. This has been going on a long time. And according to him, it was Havana that proposed using cocaine as a weapon to weaken the United States, a deliberate policy that was executed by Chavismo with the support of FARC, ELN, Hezbollah, and Cuban intelligence agents. He says in this letter that Cuban intelligence showed him its networks within its naval bases on the East Coast. They boasted of having sent thousands of spies over the decades, some of whom are now career politicians. That explains quite a bit. The purpose of this organization, now known as the Cartel de los Soles, is to use drugs as a weapon against the United States. Drugs did not reach their cities through new routes by chance. They were deliberate policies coordinated by the Venezuelan regime against the United States. He tells us that Tren de Aragua was an exported paramilitary gang. He was present when decisions were made to organize and use criminal gangs throughout Venezuela as a weapon to protect the regime, including the group known as Tren de Aragua. He mentioned something in here about being at war with the United States. People of the United States, do not be mistaken about the threat posed by allowing narco-terrorists to operate freely in the Caribbean. It is, he added, here it is not only hostile, it is at war with you, using drugs, gangs, espionage, and even its own democratic processes as weapons. What does he mean by that? Smartmatic, the voting machines are Venezuelan. It's a Venezuelan company. Carvajal reveals that he witnessed the arrival of Russian intelligence agents in Caracas with a proposal to intervene. This is about the undersea cables in South America. Regarding the company Smartmatic, Carvajal claims that it was designed as a tool for electoral manipulation from the outset. I know this because I appointed the head of IT at the National Electoral Council, and he reported directly to me, the Smartmatic system can be tampered with. This is a fact. And he goes on, there's another part in here where he talks about how it had been used, he had seen it used in order to manipulate elections. He said that he doesn't know for certain that it was done in the United States. He has no evidence of that, but he knows that it is possible. And I think we all know that it's not only possible, it was almost certainly used in that way. So Venezuela under Chavez and Maduro was at war with us. And so even if people don't want to accept that this was a law enforcement operation grabbing up Maduro, as far as I'm concerned, this is evidence that it could have been considered a military operation and capturing a war criminal. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I wanted to make sure I got that in, because that is something. And it's not something that you're going to hear on the mainstream media. It's not something that you're going to hear from, like I said, BS Now or CNN or any of the other major network outlets. You're just not going to hear it. I don't even remember seeing it. I don't really follow Fox News that much, but I don't remember seeing anything like this on Fox News. I've heard about this just from my own research. And then I think, I want to say Dana Lash may have done a story about it. But like I said, you're not going to hear about it where you would think you should hear about it. The media is dead. The media is a dead, rotting corpse. We are the media now, as Elon Musk said. All right, I got a lot more I want to get to. And yeah, I got a lot more I want to get to, and I'm not running out of time, but this could this could take a while. So let me go ahead and get a word in from our sponsor. And our sponsor for today's show is Patriot Mobile. So in 2026, as we've already outlined, voting isn't enough. We need to make sure that our resources go to companies that fight for causes that we believe in. And that's why we switched to Patriot Mobile a while ago. And Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They don't just pay lip service to values, they actually back them up. A portion of every dollar that you spend with Patriot Mobile goes to pro-life, pro-family, and pro-liberty organizations. So right now you can get a free month of service when you go to patriotmobile.com and use promo code Jackson, or call 972-PATRIOT and use promo code Jackson. Defend freedom with every call, every text, every month. Switch to Patriot Mobile today. patriotmobile.com/Jackson. All right, y'all. I am Big E. You are watching or listening to the Mission Ready Men Briefing here on the SHR Media Network, where you can catch my good friend Sackhead Sean, who is in chat with the Edge of Liberty every Monday and Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. The Reaver of Common Sense with Jersey Joe every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific. He made his triumphant return last night. It was a great show. I hope everybody tuned in. And BZ, who is also in chat with the Berserk Bobcat Saloon every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. He will be on tonight. So please be sure to check that out as well. Subscribe to all of these great shows and share them all with everyone that you know. We are at, I believe, 705 subscribers now. So keep sharing that. We want to get up to, we want 1,000. We want 1,000 subscribers. I would like to do that by, let's say, by June. Think we can do that? I think we can do that. So please like, subscribe, share. We want an even bigger breakthrough this year than we had last year. We had a nice explosion the second half of the year. So we want to keep that. Oh, we're at 708. Awesome. But we want to keep that momentum going and get 1,000 as soon as we can. All right. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. And I haven't really talked a whole lot. I haven't been on really to talk a whole lot about Mamdani since he won and was sworn in. And the whole public transportation fare hike notwithstanding, which I thought that was just glorious. Excuse me. He took his oath of office when he was sworn in as mayor on a Quran. Swearing an oath of office in the United States on a Quran is beyond inappropriate. It shouldn't be allowed as far as I'm concerned. If you don't want to swear on a Bible, okay, don't swear on anything. But swearing an oath on a Quran, we all know what the Quran is. The Quran is a book, the holy book of Islam, that commands followers to lie, to advance the cause of Islam, to kill people who don't believe, or enslave them, or tax them. And he swore his oath of office on that book. An oath is supposed to be a binding public declaration. It exists to assure people that you will tell the truth, which we already established he doesn't have to do based on his cult, that the law will be applied honestly. And we're going to get into some of that later on too. And swearing allegiance to the Constitution. If the book you swear on lets you lie, all of that means absolutely nothing. Nothing. Let's, I have a couple of verses here. A few, actually. Because I just want to make sure that you understand what this is. Islamic doctrine teaches adherents that lying in the service of the cult or to protect believers is okay. In fact, let's this is the big one. Oh, No, there's a lot of big ones. This is Surah 98:6. Verily, those who disbelieve, meaning in the religion of Islam, from among the people of the scripture and the al-mushrikun, which are the polytheists, will abide in the fire of hell. They are the worst creatures. So he swore his oath on a book that says that everyone in the city that he's supposed to protect, everyone in the city who doesn't believe the way he believes are the worst creatures. The worst creatures. There's a few more. Maybe if I can get back there. Anyway, there's another one. You true believers are the best of people ever raised for mankind. I'm not even going to bother anymore. I mean, there's verses where they talk about striking the neck of unbelievers, killing them where you find them. I mean, it's just, and he swore his oath on that book. Now, you are free to believe whatever you want. That is your constitutional right. But what you are not free to do is redefine the moral foundation for public office. And the founders of this country, despite what a lot of people will say, were Christians. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men were created equal, endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights. It's right there. And a lot of the Constitution, a lot of the Bill of Rights is taken right from the Bible. But of course, the left doesn't want to believe that either. I mean, he swore to uphold the law on a book that tells you that you can lie. That pretty much negates the oath altogether. Tommy Tuberville, he reacted when he found out about this and said the enemy is inside the gates. And he is absolutely right. It's official at this point. New York has forgotten. New York has forgotten. And we're going to get into that a little bit later because there's even more to say about that. But Mamdani, after he swore to lie, he gave his speech. And there's one line, obviously, at this point, you probably heard it, but I want to play it anyway. Because we're gonna talk about it. So let's go ahead and hear this.
We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism. If our together.
I don't know if you could hear that. The sound might have been a little low, but he said that We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism. Collectivism is group divine truth, centralized moral authority, and loyalty to the state over even your own conscience. And the truth is, as far as this guy is concerned, is fluid. It doesn't mean anything. It's conditional. And so his oath means absolutely nothing, which we've pretty much already established. The warmth of collectivism always starts with rhetoric and ends in violence. Going back to Venezuela for a second, this was the warmth of collectivism.
Sí, sí. De hecho, esa cúpula que lleva arriba, mira, ahí vemos esa imagen que se repite.
This was a few years ago. I believe this was 2019.
Sí. Esto no es la primera vez que sucede.
This was them running over protesters.
Sí, sí. De hecho, esa cúpula que lleva arriba, mira.
That is the warmth of collectivism. So we talked about Mamdani and his oath and how the truth means absolutely nothing, and the moral framework that he swore his oath on means nothing. And so we're going to move on because he made some moves early on that pretty much tell us how this is going to go. Sackhead Sean says they were collectively warm when the engine block and transmission were on top of them. Yeah. I hate to laugh at that, but it's the truth. Collectivism is always, in the end, not about the best interests of the people in the collective. It's about the power of the people running the collective. One of the first things that Mamdani did upon taking his oath was rescinding orders that Adams put in place that defined anti-Semitism for city enforcement, strengthened protections for Jewish institutions, and limited protest activities near synagogues. He rescinded those orders. So Muslims hate Jews, and these orders existed because Jews were being targeted. The violence and the intimidation were real, are real, probably even more real now because he took away all that protection that they had. This was him sending a message, as if we didn't already know what that message was going to be anyway. But he wasted no time in sending that message. And it was absolutely intentional. And people want to say that collectivism and the systems of collectivism don't engage in or eliminates bias, don't engage in any kind of bias. That is absolutely not true. It just shifts it to whichever group is in the crosshairs. And with a Muslim at the helm, it's Jews. And just to reinforce that point, Mamdani appointed Ramzi Qasem as chief counsel. This guy, Ramzi Qasem, he advises the mayor now directly. He shapes legal priorities and determines what gets defended and what doesn't. This guy is publicly, vehemently anti-Israel. He's known for activist legal positions. And most importantly, he defended the 9/11 attackers. That should tell you all you need to know about the direction that New York is headed in. New York is about to be a complete and total disaster. Total disaster. And there really isn't a whole lot at this point that can be done about it. For the next 4 years, this is the reality of the people of New York. And I don't really feel bad for them. I really don't. Because they voted for this. Even the ones who stayed home. Their decision to stay home was a vote for this. Sorry about your bad luck, but not really. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the next 4 years. Really interesting. B says that people in Brooklyn posted videos of the call to prayer at 5 a.m. this morning. And so it begins. And so it begins. I showed you, I talked about this over in Europe in a show I did last year, where they were blasting the call to prayer in villages, in small villages all over rural England. It was loud. BZ says, I think that's great. 5 times a day. Literally, your sound has been hijacked by Muzzies. You voted for it. Listen to, yeah. Just like that scene in Full Metal Jacket when he catches Private Pile with the donut. They're paying for it. You eat it. There you go. Absolutely. Where insanity? Where are all the separation of church and state people now? And the answer to that, by 02 AMT, they moved to Canada. Oh, that's awesome. All right. We're We got about a half an hour left. And I wanted to, let's see. You know what, while we're on the subject of New York, let's just go ahead and do this one. Because it gets even better. If you can believe that, it gets even better or worse. Let's see. I'm going out of order, so things are a little bit, here we go. I'm going out of order, so things are a little chaotic right now, but we'll get it done. Governor Kathy Hochul. I mean, she ordered the One World Trade Center and a bunch of other, I think 15 or 16 other New York landmarks lit up in green for Muslim American Heritage Month. Yeah. And in her statement on X, the resilience, compassion, and contributions of Muslim communities help make our state stronger. In what world is she living where that sentence makes any sense? Any sense? Tonight, landmarks across the state are lit green as New York celebrates Muslim American Heritage Month. And that's One World Trade Center. You know, the building that was raised on the ashes of the Twin Towers, that was knocked down by radical Islamic jihadists. And she thought that it was a good idea. Somebody said this out loud, and nobody said that's probably not a good idea. Nobody said maybe not that building. And I want to believe that someone did, but this is New York city government, so probably not. I mean, what do you even, how do you even respond to that? That is just utter insanity and a complete and total insult to the victims and their families of 9/11. I mean, none of the landmarks in New York should have been lit in green for this particular reason. None of them, but especially that one. If you want to make an argument for the rest of them, I think you're an idiot, but okay, fine. Well, not fine, but whatever. But that building, unbelievable. And you know this went through many, many meetings and reviews. And at no point did someone say, maybe not? We might want to rethink this. Nothing. This was a complete insult to the nearly 3,000 people who lost their lives that day. Yeah, BZ, sadly, you're right. That is the point. Democrats and leftists, or Democrats and leftists, excuse me, can't despise the United States enough. That, yes, you are 100% correct. Yeah. Sackett Sean says it's also a slap in the face to everyone who died in the following war on terror. Agree with it or not, that was the catalyst for it. Yeah. Exactly. And Kathy Hochul, New York City Council, and I'm sure Mamdani was involved in it too. He probably proposed it, honestly. But that was them taking a giant dump on the memory of those people. That may sound crude, but that is exactly what it was. BZ says, show me a Democrat who loves and respects this nation's founders, strengths, Bill of Rights, sovereignty, freedoms, just one. Well, the only one I can possibly think of is Fetterman. He's the only one I can think of. So the soldiers who lost their lives, the people who died that day in the towers, the families who are still grieving. This was whatever you think of the other landmarks. One World Trade Center is not a neutral site. It's sacred ground, whether the leftists want to believe that or not. Lighting it green was a complete slap in the face. It was a giant FU to everyone who lost someone that day and in the years since in the war on terror and everything else. And all of the other terrorist attacks. Honestly, it's a complete whitewashing of history, which is what we know the left loves to do. So when we said never forget, apparently that had an expiration date. Never didn't mean never. And I remember thinking a year, 2 years, 3 years after, I think a song came out a few years later, Have We Forgotten? Daryl Worley. I remember thinking then that, yeah, a lot of people have. And now it's just, I mean, there are people now who vote who were not alive when 9/11 happened and have been taught, most likely, that it was our fault. That building, One World Trade Center, exists because of Islamic terror. And now it's being lit up in green to celebrate the cult that is responsible for it being there. The cult that knocked down the buildings that One World Trade Center replaced. Unbelievable. This. What do you do with that? This didn't happen though in a vacuum. It's been a cultural slide pretty much from the beginning. Like I said, it didn't take long. It did not take long. BZ says historical Alzheimer's, intentional historical Alzheimer's. Yeah, absolutely. They're not taught about it in schools. It gets framed as Islamophobia if you talk about it. If you talk about Islamic jihadist terror, you're an Islamophobe. They don't want villains. They don't want victims. They don't want to remember victims. They want vibes. They want to feel good. And in order for them to do that, that requires, like BZ said, historical Alzheimer's. It requires them to forget. And what Hochul did with that, the fact that it wasn't a huge outcry, a huge national outcry, tells you all you need to know. Yeah, we're talking about it here, and I've seen a few people mention it here and there, but it's not something that even a lot of independent media, a lot of conservative media has even really talked about. And the fact that they want so badly for us to forget why that building stands where it stands tells us that they are either ready or have already forgotten why it fell in the first place. If the memory of 9/11 can be so easily dismissed, then nothing is permanent in terms of history. I mean, we know that nothing is permanent, but just for the sake of this argument in history, nothing is permanent. Not history, not sacrifice, not even truth, because truth to these people is whatever you want it to be at the time. And that tells us pretty much all we need to know, and should scare anyone who thinks that the majority in this country remembers who it is. Because you and I are talking about it, it pisses us off. But like I said, there was no outcry about it that I saw. Perhaps I'm wrong, but I didn't see anything. I think I saw it on Citizen Free Press, and I clicked on it, and that's what I found. And nobody picked up on it. Unbelievable. All right, y'all, we got a little bit of time left, and I didn't get through everything, but I'm not gonna go back and revisit a lot of that stuff. There's videos out there that are just ridiculous. The left is just so ridiculous. But before we get you out of here, let's take a look at some let's take a look at some twitchy threads and see if we can get a few laughs before we get you out of here. Let's see what this one is. Hillary Clinton's J6 anniversary Trump dunk gets savage ratio roast, and we are here for it. Well, let's see what she had to say. 5 years ago today, Donald Trump urged his supporters to attack Congress and the Capitol over a proven lie. Well, that's a lie. More than 140 police officers were injured. Trump then pardoned the attackers. Another lie. He betrayed his oath and his country, and we won't ever forget it. Well, I think we all proven that we will forget. Of course, she turned replies off. Well, that's what I love, these leftists who drop these bombs on X and then turn off comments. It's like, it's funny on one hand, but then it's irritating because you can't really say much about it. So 5 years, this is a response. 5 years ago, Trump said peacefully and patriotically, make your voices heard. Capitol Police then shot tear gas at the crowd on one side while openly inviting people into the Capitol on the other. Your lies no longer work. You enabled a rapist just to keep your power. Wow. So Hillary, Katie Miller posted Trump's mugshot. Katie Miller is Stephen Miller's wife. Turn on replies, coward, is Trump war room. I mean, these people are insane. Let's see what else we got on Twitchy. Oh yeah, I did have that as something I wanted to talk about. The Hilton hotels canceling the reservations of ICE and CBP agents. Can't imagine why Minneapolis Hilton's leaders didn't want ICE around. Check out who runs it. Oh, let's see. Can't imagine why the operators of this Hilton didn't want ICE around. Parmjeet Singh, Amanpreet Hundal, Karandeep Nagra, and Mojenderit Kaur. Those seem like some really American names. I'm guessing that they are not. So yeah, Hilton. When I saw that yesterday, I said, they either, the person who sent that email either acted outside of their authority or it was approved by Hilton Hotels. Hilton Hotels has come out and said that they're a franchisee and that that's not their stance, but apparently apparently they are getting the Bud Light treatment. There are a lot of people who are canceling their reservations at Hilton hotels, and they're gonna take a hit. They are gonna take a hit for this. And oh well, they should have known better. They should have known better. Sackhead Sean says to Hilton's credit, they came out pretty quick to point out it was a franchise and they were addressing the issue. Yeah, I mean, I remember, I remember thinking when I saw it that it had been almost 2 hours and they hadn't responded yet, and I thought that was a little shaky. Now, like you said, they have come out and said that they're addressing it. We'll see. Maybe too little, too late. Especially if the reports of all the canceled reservations are accurate. Hilton could be in for some. BZ says they're not addressing it. That's a lie. Probably so. I haven't. Yeah, the damage is done. The damage is done. I haven't really. I haven't really dug too deep into it, and since I didn't think I was going to be able to get to that story today. But we shall see. Let's see. I think we got time for one more. Okay. Ilhan Omar says, oh yeah, here we go. Ilhan Omar says the quiet part out loud and thank you post to champion Tim Walz. Oh boy. That meme is funny. Okay, so let's see. Thank you, Governor Tim Walz. Governor Tim Walz didn't just talk about progress, he delivered it. Paid family and sick leave, strong protections for reproductive rights, universal school meals, marijuana legalization, a true champion for Minnesota. Yeah, well, we see how we see how that's working out. So abortion, big government, and pot. Yeah, pass. Yeah, you really couldn't have posted a creepier picture. This is a picture of him surrounded by all these kids. Wow. This one says he's not just going down, he's going to jail. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Maybe he will. School meals like the one below. Well, yeah, we know how that worked out. We know how that worked out. He helped your people steal a lot of money. One nation under fraud, clearly visible with bribery and corruption for all. That is an amazing meme. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, BZ says Walz isn't going to jail. Yeah, I agree with you, BZ. I don't think he's going to go to jail. I don't know if his career, I don't know if he has a political career left, but he will probably be a commentator on CNN or BS Now, or maybe he'll do, who knows? Who knows? But and he's still got a year left in the governor's mansion, barring some legal, barring any legal jeopardy. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, y'all. I think I think that's Sackett-Chung says, I think he had to dip out so he wasn't the candidate and then have to drop out at the last minute and then they lose the seat. Yeah, I think that is probably true. I think that is probably true. He was told to drop out for that reason. For that reason. But as I was saying, that is it for this briefing. We are not just here to fill airtime. We are here to equip Christian men to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and carry the banner of faith, freedom, and hope for future generations. If this matters to you, don't just watch, share it. Share these episodes. Let everyone know. Bring another guy into the fight. And if you want to wear what you're standing for, head over to missionreadymen.com, click Shop 7 Armors, and check out all the designs we have over there about bold faith, true grit, and unapologetic patriotism. And remember, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, but the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.